What's up, you guys? Have some exciting news to share with you, which is TryHackMe just launched their Cybersecurity 101 learning path. And they also have a Try Win Me ticketing event. Think of this event as your very own cyber monopoly. For every room you complete in TryHackMe's brand new learning path, you'll earn tickets. If you're a free user, you get 1 ticket per room, and if you're a paid user, you get 2 tickets per room. And that's doubling your chances. Now, if you collect 3 identical tickets, you can earn very cool prizes. And when I say amazing prizes, I'm talking special Crusader title on TryHackMe, $10 swag vouchers for some t-shirts, hats, and even streak freezes. And the bigger prizes, 12-month premium vouchers, $50 Amazon vouchers, and even a free laptop. And you can earn DEF CON 33 tickets. But a very lucky winner will win the grand prize, which is a DEF CON 33 ticket, flights, and accommodations, all covered by TryHackMe. This event makes learning cyber even more fun and competitive than it already is. So whether you're new to cyber or want to recap on some fundamentals, which I suggest everyone does, it's a perfect time to dive into TryHackMe. So start completing rooms, collecting those tickets, and winning amazing prizes. Now, on to a little walkthrough of what you can expect for the new Cyber 101 path. So this is the Cybersecurity 101 path. 13 modules, 55 hands-on labs, easy. The little intro, we have section 1, start your cybersecurity journey. Try Win Me, the ticketing event. OffSec intro, defensive intro, search skills, new edition. Linux fundamentals, 1, 2, 3. Windows and AD fundamentals, 1, 2, 3. Active Directory basics, command line, networking, cryptography, exploitation basics, web hacking, offensive security tooling, defensive security, security solutions, defensive security tooling, and build your cybersecurity career. So, a lot packed in, very useful stuff. You'll need to know everything that is in here. But today we are going to be walking through sections 1 through 3. Start your cybersecurity journey, Linux fundamentals, and Windows and AD fundamentals. Offensive security intro. To outsmart a hacker, you need to think like one. This is the core of offensive security. It involves breaking into computer systems, exploiting software bugs, and finding loopholes in applications to gain unauthorized access. The goal is to understand hacker tactics and enhance your system defenses. So this one, you're going through GoBuster. So we have hacking your first machine. We use VMs, virtual machines, and they have prepared an application called FakeBank that you can safely hack. So we start machine. So right now we're using GoBuster fakebank.thm to find hidden directories. So open up the terminal. The terminal is open. We have this command. Literally just copy and paste it up in there. Boom. And we have bank transfer right here. So let's copy. Let's do that. Paste. Get rid of the extra enter. And we have the admin portal. And we're sending from... You're basically transferring $2,000 from bank account 2276 to your account 8881. Which you transfer the money and then you get the flag. Now we move on to defensive security intro. And defensive security is mainly just preventing intrusions from occurring and detecting intrusions when they occur and responding properly. And defensive security, aka blue team, offensive security or OffSec, aka red team. So, some of the tasks that are related to defensive security: user cybersecurity awareness, documenting and managing assets, updating and patching systems, setting up preventative security devices, and setting up logging and monitoring devices. And within defensive security, you can do SOC stuff, Security Operations Center, Threat Intelligence, Digital Forensics and Incident Response, DFIR, and Malware Analysis. So, we have Security Operations Center, SOC, looking at logs, pretty much. Finding vulnerabilities, policy violations, unauthorized activity, network intrusions, they will all be in logs, and your job as a SOC analyst is to look at those logs. For defensive security and threat intelligence, it refers to the information you gather about actual and potential enemies, or aka a threat. So it's just gathering information about your adversary. Digital forensics and incident response. Forensics, recovering data from suspecting processes. So like file system, system memory, system logs, network logs. Basically just analyzing evidence of an attack and its perpetrators. And incident response, it is in the name. It is responding to a cyber incident, data breach, or cyber attack. And these are the steps: preparation, detection and analysis, containment, eradication, and recovery. WAMP can cycle back if you need, and then post-incident activity. So those are the concise steps in incident response. And we have malware analysis, which is in the name, analyzing malware, which is malicious software. And we have this new one, search skills, learn to efficiently search the internet and use specialized search engines and technical documents. So learning objectives for this one: evaluate information sources, use search engines efficiently, explore specialized search engines, read technical documentation, make use of social media, check news outlets. So extremely important. When you're working in this industry, you will read a lot of technical documentation. Know how to comb through that efficiently. Evaluation of search results. This just goes over how to Google things and use your favorite search engine. So just like a little Google exercise. And we have different search engines: Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo. We have Google dorking right here. How would you limit your Google search to PDF files containing the term cyber warfare report? That would involve Google dorking. So for that, it would be file type PDF cyber warfare report. So that's a little taste of Google dorking for you. Specialized search engines. We have Shodan, very cool, very fun. We have Census, focuses on internet-connected devices and systems such as servers, routers, webcams, and IoT. VirusTotal, virus scanning service. You'll use this a lot if someone's like, is this phishing? And then they send you a PDF or an executable. Just put the hash for it in there. Put the link to the website in there, and it'll tell you if it's malicious or not. Have I been pwned? It tells you if an email address has been leaked in a data breach. We have vulnerabilities and exploits. We have CVEs, common vulnerabilities and exposures. Very important when doing research. Exploit database, finding exploits, which can be done via exploitdb or the command line. Reference my past TryHackMe video for a deep dive into exploiting vulnerabilities. And then we have GitHub. Lots of cool code on GitHub for exploitation in a lab safely. And we have technical documentation. We have a Linux man pages, which is like type in man, whatever command you want. You can search it up. There's also a GUI version on the internet. Microsoft Windows, we have technical documentation for Windows. Product documentation. Each product you work with is going to have documentation. You're going to need to know how to search through that, read, and find your answer within the technical documentation. And then we have social media, allows attackers to find out information. For example, LinkedIn, see where someone works, see what stack they're working with, what technical stack, what software tools, and you can use that against someone. And now we have Linux Fundamentals Part 1. And Linux is just another operating system. Technically, I know you guys are going to say it's a kernel, which technically it is a kernel, but for simplicity's sake, it says operating system. So we're going with operating system, which I know you guys are going to comment, Linux isn't an operating system, Linux is a kernel, but we're going with operating system. Linux, we start machine. So Linux is extremely important if you're working in cybersecurity. Please at least learn the basics of Linux. For the love of God. So we have echo and who am I? So echo just prints out, it echoes. So we have echo. Here we have hello friend. I'm just gonna say THM rocks. Woo. Hey, boom. Echoes it. THM rocks. Here we have who am I? Tells you who you are. TryHackMe. And that's like your user. And it says it right here too. TryHackMe. So for this, let's see what we have. We have ls, list files. And you can change directories. So you can go CD folder 1. Oops, sorry. CD folder 1 ls. Oops. Nothing's in folder 1. So we can do CD ..back ls. If we want to read something, hold on, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. If we want to read something, we go. And we're reading the access log.txt. And we clear. And if we want to know the current working directory, we do pwd current working directory home/TryHackMe. Okay, so right here we have Linux Fundamentals Part 2, going through SSH, secure shell, connecting your local host to a remote device securely, the gist of that. Introduction to flags and switches, ls.a, which I did previously, and it shows hidden files and folders. Permissions, do, switching between users. We have su and sudo, common directories, etc. /etc is very important. For example, we have password and shadow files, which are files with your system's hash passwords, which if you get access to another system, you can just decrypt the hash and then have their root password. And in Linux Fundamentals Part 3, we have terminal text editors, nano, vim, the meme about trying to exit out of vim, processes 101. Let's see, we have PS, provides a list of running processes. We have some automation in here, cron jobs, which I suggest learning what all that means, which it can get confusing and I still forget to this day. Now, we have Windows and AD fundamentals. So Windows Fundamentals 1. This one kind of goes through the Windows operating system files, utilities, settings, features, things of that nature. Different Windows editions. This one loads up Windows 10, even though we are now currently on Windows 11. But this one just loads up Windows 10, but it doesn't really matter in this context. And then we have the folders, this PC, local disk C, which is kind of like root, Windows, System 32. And System 32 holds all of the files that are critical for the operating system. So if you delete that, you will have no more. It'll be poof, gone into the abyss. So don't delete System 32. We have the task manager, which is really important. For example, if you have Skype just automatically load when you start your computer, you can just right click that and then set it to be turned off. So for example, let me run something. Let me run some Wireshark. We're running some things, task manager, and so we have these tasks running. More details. So for example, we can malware protection, whatever, end task. So we can end task here, services, and it is reconnecting. So if we go to services, we have all the running services here. You can quit that from here, start, stop, restart, go to details, things of that nature. So we have Windows Fundamentals 2. We have system config, UAC settings, computer management system info, resource mon, registry editor, which is very important. For example, command prompt. Let me pull it up. So we have the little command prompt here. We can go, who am I? Administrator. We can do listing the directories, 3D objects, contacts, desktop, documents, downloads, favorites, links, music, pictures. So you can do everything you do via clicks, via types. So GUI versus command line. And then we have IP config, which shows the IP address of the box, subnet mask, and default gateway. Registry editor, muy importante. I use this to disable Defender a lot, and real-time protection. We have HKey class as root, HKey current local machine users, current config. We have HKey local machine. We have system. We have Microsoft, all the software that's on here. Security manager. For example, we have Windows Defender. Disable anti-spyware. We have disable antivirus, which you would edit the value data to disable both of those. And you can also disable it through PowerShell as well. But that is for another day. Now we have Windows Fundamentals 3. Windows updates, Windows security, virus and threat protection. So for example, this will be very important. Windows security, virus and threat protection. Turn on. Good practice to turn it on. So we go here, no current threats, manage settings, so you could do this. Real-time protection is off, which is good if you want to run malicious things on your VM, but if you don't, turn that on. Basically, you would turn everything on here, but it is all off. Ransomware protection, check for updates. We have app and browser control, Windows Defender Smart Screen, which if you're running malicious things on purpose to analyze them, you want to just have all of this turned off. And we have BitLocker. Per Microsoft, BitLocker Drive encryption is a data protection feature that integrates with the operating system and addresses the threats of data theft or exposure from lost, stolen, or improperly decommissioned computers. On devices with TPM installed, BitLocker offers the best protection. And what else do we have here? Device security, firewall and network protection, which is here. Firewall is on, which you can turn all that off if needed. And then if we can go here, Windows Defender Firewall, this is kind of like the advanced settings, allow an app or feature through Windows Defender Firewall, which you can choose which ones you want through. Also, virus and threat protection exclusions. So for example, if you want to run a specific file type or process, you can just add an exclusion so it can be excluded from Windows Defender antivirus scans. Now we have Active Directory basics. Active Directory, the backbone of the corporate world. Any tech world, users, group policies, managing groups, managing users in a corporate environment, all done through AD or Active Directory. So we have a window domain, a group of users and computers under the administration of a given business, manages the components of a system or corporate architecture through something called an Active Directory, and the server that runs the Active Directory is the domain controller. So it's kind of like this. Search Active Directory users and computers. We have this here, THM. We have different departments, IT, management, marketing, sales, users, the different domain controllers and computers, things like that. We have the different people in the departments, Claire, Mary, Philip, and you can reassign if needed, managing users and groups, and you can assign different policies to them and manage multiple departments that way. And then here we have group policies, group policy objects. So for example, GPOs, group policy objects, are linked to OUs, which stands for organizational units. So for example, the settings in this group policy object can only apply to the following groups: authenticated users. And then you can edit, add some more group policies. So for example, minimum password length, you're adding a minimum password length to all computers, users, whatever, in your corporate environment. And it explains it, and then you click OK, apply, whatever. So yeah, this is kind of an overview of the first 3 sections of Cybersecurity 101 Learning Path. New Learning Path by TryHackMe. Make sure to go through there, do the modules, do the lessons, do the sections, earn some tickets, earn some prizes, and most importantly, have fun. And I will see you guys in the next video.